I love showing y'all how I reimagine little pieces from the dollar store. And this little wooden tag is what we're going to be working with today that I found at the Dollar General. And now I am just going around my studio gathering up some supplies in a patriotic theme, and actually a little bit of a subtle patriotic theme. I think you'll really like this one. I love it. I think it turns out pretty unique in the end. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is remove that wooden welcome tag. We're going to be repurposing that though. I'm just setting it to the side for now. And then we're going to just pull off all the things of this tag. The little sticky tag, we already took off the welcome part, and we're going to pop out the staple holding the string and beads, and we're going to repurpose that too. We're going to bring it back into the design. But for now, we're going to rip some strips of blue ticking and red ticking and lay them out in a design. So I decided to do the red ticking in the center, and then blue ticking, and then more red ticking on the edges. So now I'm just kind of trimming it as close as I can to the design of the tag. And I'm using some hot glue. You could also use Mod Podge if you like. There's whatever kind of glue you wanted. And there are lots of other ideas for this step too if you didn't want to use fabric, decorative scrapbook paper, decoupage paper, printable, or you could even paint it. But I thought I really loved the texture of the fabric, so that's why I chose that. And once I get all the pieces glued down, I've got to trim up some of the excess, and then we're going to wrap the edge in this decorative jute. It's a thicker decorative jute that I got in the ribbon section at Hobby Lobby. So it's a little different than your average jute. And now we're going to pull out this paper mache star and some rub and buff gold. And we're going to make us a pretty gold star. Going to highlight those raised parts of the star with some black ink. And then we're going to take a little bit of Osnaburg muslin, and I'm looking at that little green welcome tag, trying to make sure that my word that I'm putting will fit on there. The word Liberty that I'm stamping with my rubber stamps, and then I'm going to trim it to the size of the green welcome tag. I'm going to hot glue that on there as well. And of course, we'll have some fabric hanging over, so we'll get rid of the excess edges there after we glue it. And I did that with a little bit of sandpaper. You could try to cut it as close as you wanted to as well. I liked the rustic look, and then I took the same black ink and went around with the Liberty tag. So we'll set that to the side for when we put everything back together. This last piece that I'm thinking I want to pull back in is that string with the wooden beads, and so I did the gold on the wooden beads as well. In hindsight, I really should have worn 2 rubber gloves. I made a gold mess of my left hand, but I ended up getting it all off pretty easily. So I stapled that back in place. And now before we put all the elements, the Liberty tag and the star in place, I want to make a bow, and I need to figure out how big it is so that I can determine where I glue the star and the Liberty. So this is just a simple Osnaburg muslin bow, a few rip strips just with a couple tails and a couple loops in my hand, real rustic, kind of a little rag bow. I'm going to tie that off in the center. And once we get our bow built, then we can glue it in place, and the star and the Liberty as well. Okay, so a little hot glue there on the bow. We've got one more special little touch that we're going to bring in, and it's going to be gold too. And like I said, this design is actually very subtle, but it's also really patriotic at the same time, especially with that beautiful gold star. And it's just the red and the blue colors are just kind of a little muted, which I really love. It allows the patriotic part of the star and the Liberty to kind of stand out a little bit more. So there's that last embellishment, a little button with a star on it as well that I gave a little rub and buff gold. And look how adorable this is. You could use this in a number of ways, as you can imagine, just as a little hanging tag and a wreath embellishment, or lay it around in a little gathering. It's beautiful. I hope y'all are inspired to make one too. Thanks for watching.